You catch me on my little ramble today. And what am I going to talk about? Usually I talk about pitching or funding or things in business, but what's interesting is that since leaving nursing over 12 years ago, I've worn many hats and I've recorded many videos. And the video that I recorded when I went walking one morning that turned out to be the most watched, most popular and most commented on was one about when I talked about preparing for a loved one who is about to die. And in my role as a nurse, the hardest thing I had to learn was what to say to a patient who's been written off by the NHS. There will always reach a point where people will say, or the doctors will say, "I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do." And it's pretty much a death sentence from the NHS. And that information takes time to land. So the doctors would deliver the information, leave the ward, and it was me that used to get to pick up the almost nuclear aftermath of that, where people are looking for meaning, looking for answers. Is there any hope? Is the question, is there any hope? And it led me to a search of alternatives, of mind-body medicine, of energy medicine, of hypnotherapy. I went down a very alternative path as I worked as a medical practitioner. And I became very good at counselling people as they face death, and more so their families. And what's the critical advice? We're all going to lose loved ones. What can you do? Well, I'll tell you what you can do. You can say how much you love them. You can say how much they pissed you off. You know, there's no point holding back. Anything that you've got on your chest that you need to get off, you need to have that conversation. And I know that COVID is restricting entry of hospitals, so the opportunity to do this is not as much. But one thing I can tell you is that so much suffering happens because family can't let their friends or family go. And I've seen patients suffer because they know, even if they seem unconscious, hearing is the last sense to go, that people hang on. And there is a big correlation, in my experience, of families that were able to let their loved one go and them having a peaceful death. Fact. Well, anyway, this is a conversation I could go on for ages and ages and ages, but I know it's not my core business these days, but it's certainly a bit of insight that may be able to help you when you're preparing for the death of someone close, because that's never, ever easy. And on the last 12 months, I can speak from personal experience, and not just as somebody that's worked with hundreds, possibly thousands of people who face death of a loved one, and coaching people through that process. So that will be my little takeout, is get what you need to say off your chest if someone hasn't got long left. It will help everybody.